Hello, all of you. Welcome to my YouTube channel that is the Biotech Bites and myself Megha. I am research scholar at NIPGR and working in the area of proteomics and structural biology. So today I'm very excited to share with you the topic that is a mass photometry, which has various applications in the proteomics field as well, and it will change your way to how to look at the biomolecule as well. So let's get started to make this I hope that with the end of this talk you will be able to understand the principle as well as something more about this topic. So to understand it in a better way, I will be following this review article which has some information in the principle of mass photometry followed by various case studies that are important in understanding the application based potential of mass photometry. So first we will start with introduction. So what is the mass photometry? Mass photometry basically is the label-free single molecule technique that measures each individual molecule mass, biomolecule mass in solution, and it is based on the light scattering principle. So let's start with the basic experimental setup of it. First of all, a tiny drop of solution containing various biomolecules like protein, DNA, etc. is placed on a clean glass cover slip, and then a laser is directed towards the interference between the glass and water at an angle. So as the laser, let me on the pointer. So as the laser shine on through the solution on a glass cover slip, a molecule bind to the glass, scatters its light, and this scattered light interfere with the reflected light, creating a contrast change that is like a spot, and that contrast change appear as a bright spot and in an image which can be captured by the high um, programmed cameras, and it would be like captured in the way of one binding event as well. So the intensity of each spot depends on the molecule size as well as its concentration. So bigger the spot, bigger the molecule will be, that is the mass, and the more the intensity of that spot, the more the amount of that particular biomolecule in the solution, and this all that is captured by the high program cameras, it converted into the data by the histogram in the form of the histogram. So these histogram is like can be able to understand many binding events, and it will measure the contrast of each, that is the brightness of the spot. By plotting them on the histogram, we will get the distribution of molecular masses in the solution. For example, how the monomer, dimer, trimer will show up at the distinct points. Here you can see the amount of the particular biomolecule is more in spite of these, and there are different type of oligomers are forming. Also, there is a calibration curve here. So by measuring known proteins, a calibration curve can be created. So this can convert optical contrast directly into the molecular masses for the unknown protein, unknown biomolecules. So there is a linear relationship between the contrast and the mass. So in this way, the mass is calculated. I can give you one example to understand this in a simple form. Like if you flashlight your torch, if you are having a torch and you just on its flashlight and direct it towards the mirror, then the mirror somehow will reflect the light. But if some insect like any mosquito or anything come in between that flashlight, that it will scatter some of its shadow. Because of this shadow, we can see how the bigger that particular insect is, and if there will be more insects, then we can also see different heterogeneous insects also. So in this way, I hope you will be understanding the concept behind it. So let's start with the thing that how the signal strength, that is a contrast, can be determined. So the contrast of each binding event is directly linked to the molecule's polarizability. That means how the electrons of each molecule is distorted by the light. That depend on the refractive index, volume, and mass. So as I have mentioned earlier, that the brighter the spot, the larger the molecule. And then the MP is calibrated by using various proteins of known masses. Like in the gel filtration chromatography, we also need a calibration of the column based on the known protein. So in that, in like the same way, we created the calibration curve and convert into the conversion chart from the contrast can be converted into the mass. In this way, a known molecule can now be measured with high accuracy and within the 2% of the actual mass. Now, on the left hand side, we have some features, and at the right hand side, we have the MP performance with respect to that feature. So, mass resolution can be done in 20 to 20 kDa to 30 kDa protein can be resolved by starting from the 20 kDa to 30 kDa protein can be resolved by the mass photometry, and its mass accuracy is approximately 12% of the actual molecular mass, and the minimum detectable concentration is a nanomolar range that is very low in comparison to the various traditional method like X-ray, cryo-EM, which require a lot of amount of protein in a good quantity. It can detect oligomeric state as well, and the cherry on the top is does not require any kind of labeling. That means protein can be studied in its native form. So let's compare the mass photometry with the traditional methods like bulk methods, X-ray, cryo-EM. So let's compare it. So in the prospect of sensitivity to low concentration, mass photometry is very sensitive to low concentration, as we have also discussed in the earlier slide that it can detect in the nanomolar range. Whereas in the X-ray and the cryo-EM required a lot of amount of uh, concentration of that particular biomolecule to study. And in bulk method also it require a lot of amount of biomolecules and sample. Bulk method and the X-ray and cryo-EM cannot work with the heterogeneous mixture, whereas the mass photometry can work excellent with the heterogeneous mixture. We have also taken the example of various kind of insects and all. So, in heterogeneous mixture can be studied in the solution form by the mass photometry, whereas it cannot be possible with these traditional method, especially in X-ray, where the protein purity is very important. We required a very ultra pure protein in its homogeneous form. This mass photometry can study the biomolecule in its real time, and dynamic measurements can also be taken because it can get we can take the snapshot every 30 seconds, and each binding event can be calculated, can be seen with the help of the mass photometry, whereas that is not possible with the bulk method and the X-ray and other cryo-EM techniques. So, as we have mentioned earlier, also that it does not require labeling, whereas the bulk method and X-ray require labelings, and the mass and stoichiometry resolution can is very limited in the bulk methods, and X-ray and cryo-EM it can be done, but not in the solution. Whereas in the photometry, it can be done in the solution and with the histogram as well. So it has various application in various fields, like quantitative detection can be done by the mass photometry, and it can count how many molecules of each species are present. It can resolve the mass and distinguish between the monomer, dimer, and the complexes. It can also have single molecule sensitivity, which work at nanomolar concentration. So it is very perfect for tight binding structures. It has label-free detection, so as we have mentioned that there is no need to modify the protein or DNA, and the native states are preserved, and the biomolecules can be stored in the native states. So, in dynamic interaction analysis can be done in the case of mass photometry, as it enables the real-time monitoring of complex formation or dissociation that we will see through some case studies as well. So one of the most important case study in which mass photometry has played an important role is in the real world urgent problem, that is a COVID-19 pandemic. So during this pandemic, mass photometry along with the detection mass spectrometry has played an important role in detecting and to create an antibiotic, that is vaccines for the cure. Because mass photometry can easily and in very small time duration, less time duration, it can just check the antibody affinity, avidity, and cooperativity with the spike proteins. So here you can see different kind of mutants of corona are there, with whom it is checking its is binding and affinity with the receptor in the presence of antibiotics. So in the antibiotic which is more appropriate for dissociating its affinity with the receptor is more desirable, and in this way, in within the less time duration, this therapeutics can be designed, and we have the cure of the COVID pandemic, that is our vaccines nowadays. So mass photometry has played an important role at that time. Second case study is like alpha and beta tubulin dimerization, which is very well known example, which form dimer and they assemble into microtubules, which is very critical for cell shape, transport of material, and cell division in various aspects of cell shape as well. So this alpha and beta tubulin dimer is formed that can be resolved by the mass photometry, and based on the scientists has just increases the concentration of the monomer unit, and they have seen with the time duration it's and increasing concentration, dimer formation also increases. Because of the dimer formation increment, it has been also seen that in the presence of GTP, that is very important for assembly of this alpha and beta tubulin, their KD, that is the dissociation constant, decreases. Because of this decrease, the affinity because of this change in the dissociation constant, affinity can also be calculated, and that is corresponding to the free energy. So uh, thermodynamic insights can be taken by this mass photometry, it can be helpful to calculate the free energy, and then free energy is equivalent to the some kind of thermal energy at room temperature. So this mass photometry is detecting the small but meaningful changes in energy, that is very important in the case of thermodynamic studies. So in this way, it is very helpful in that prospect. Second is the it can be very helpful in kinetic studies as well. Like we can calculate the kinetic constant, rate constant, that is a k on and the k off, and in this way we can calculate the dissociation constant. So dissociation constant is equals to k off divided by the k on. When for example, one example for this is one kind of antibiotic which is very helpful in the breast cancer, which reacts with the which binds to the IgG-Fc receptors, and by binding to these receptors it acts. But what the researchers has done, they have diluted that particular solution to a concentration that can breaks down that particular association. So within with 0 to 30 time minutes, it dissociation starts. Here you can see the peaks, the associated peaks of the association peaks of both the antibody and the receptor IgG is more, but with the time it dissociation starts. So while dissociating, the researcher has noticed that KD, that is a dissociation constant, is very less in the case of glycosylated IgG, whereas it is more in the case of deglycosylated IgG. So, mass photometry is very important, as it is also resolving this change in kinetics, that it can be able to calculate the KD, K off, and K on. In spite of this, it is very sensitive enough to detect the subtle molecular modification as well, like deglycosylated and glycosylated antibodies. So in this way, the mass photometry is very sensitive, and it can also be very helpful to study the kinetics, thermodynamics, as well as the certain molecular modification as well. The next example is the kind of RNase-P that is very important enzyme that process the pre-tRNA, so it removes extra sequences. So, like for processing of pre-tRNA, RNase-P are used. So, RNSP like Aqua 880 is a kind of RNSP which is very hard for the traditional method to get the structure through X-ray and NMR. So it is failed to resolve its structure, likely because the sample was too heterogeneous. It is forming various higher oligomeric forms, which is very difficult to resolve through the traditional method. It is a 23 kDa protein, but it assembles into larger oligomers that cannot be resolved by X-ray, because in X-ray we require very pure and homogeneous mixture. Like Aqua 880, it's cannot be crystallized, but researchers turned a similar protein like HARP protein and used cryo-EM to solve its structure. What did they find? They find that the basic unit of that particular HARP protein is 23 kDa polypeptide, and these monomers form dimers, and these dimers then stack together in a screw-like arrangement to form a dodecamer, that is the 12 subunit structure. So MP, in the case of this, detects a peak at 277 and 295 kDa. That is very consistent with the results of dodecamer model of that particular cryo-EM of HARP protein. In the same way, the Aqua 880's structure is determined by the mass photometry, and what they have found that they are also having the highest peak to near the 277, and also the other peaks at 42, 78, that they are forming various octamer, decamer, dodecamer as well. But by introducing some mutation to the C terminal helix, which is very crucial for oligomerization. So what the researcher did is they just delete some C terminal regions, especially that targets alpha helix, thought to stabilize the structure. So by disturbing the alpha helix, they have found that the formation of uh, octamer, decamer, and various higher order uh, oligomer is distorted. Because of this, its activity also decreases. Here you can see in the graph, in this gel images, that the processing of the tRNA is decreasing in the mutant of the C terminal regions. So in this way, mass photometry can detect the oligomeric state, and thus it can also uh, can be useful to determine the change in the activity and lower activity as well. So challenges and future improvements are like, despite its promise, mass photometry still faces some limitation that is very important to address, like detection sensitivity and mass resolution of mass photometry is around 30 to 40 kDa, and its problem is like biomolecules below this range generate very weak signals, and because of this there is a lot of noise in background. So because from the light tracking of and optical instability, so that's why it cannot resolve structure below 30 to 40 kDa, and it works with very low concentration, that is 100 to 200 nanomolar range. It is also very good for people having low amount of sample, but if someone want to work with the highest amount of sample, they will face some kind of problem. And also, at high concentration, molecules bind very densely to the surface, and it also make it hard to detect individual due to the overlap peaks. So these are the future challenges that need to be improved in the case of mass photometry. In spite of this mass photometry has uh, revolutionized the way we look at the biomolecules, because it is just like a measuring weighing balance for the biomolecules. Like we have a weighing balance in our lab to measure the chemicals, but these biomolecules we cannot see by the naked eyes. So they can be their mass can be calculated by the help of the mass photometry, so it is kind of weighing balance for them. So it is very helpful in case of lab prospects working who are working for working under like topics for biomolecules, proteins. They can see the oligomeric state as well. So, thank you for this paying attention to this topic. I hope you by the end of this you just understand what we I want to convey the things. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your attention.